A Dallas man sentenced to life for rape is getting a chance to prove his innocence. As KDAF 33's Tongish reports, the inmate received a DNA test, and for the first time, a local news crew was allowed to be there.
For convicted rapist Johnnie Lindsey, these could be his first steps toward freedom.
I actually believe it's a miracle, it's a work of God that this would happen.
It was 25 years ago then 30-year-old Lindsey was convicted of raping a woman and sentenced to life. All those years locked up for a crime he claims he didn't do.
It's been sad, angry, frustrated.
Lindsey was actually convicted twice of this rape. His first trial was overturned on some legal technicality. In the second trial, the judge actually offered him a plea deal, 50 years if he would say he did it. He refused and got life.
I've pleaded my innocence from the beginning.
Lindsey maintains he was nowhere near White Rock Lake in 1983 when a woman was dragged off her bike and sexually assaulted. At trial, his defense presented an alibi. Lindsey's boss testified he was at work at a laundry, even produced a time card. On a third try, the victim did pick Lindsey out of a photo lineup, but it was a year later, and his attorney says flawed.
One of the descriptions that she gave at the scene was that the person did not have a shirt on, and I think two of those people in that photo lineup did not have a shirt on, and one of those was Johnnie Lindsey.
For those reasons, Lindsey was granted a post-conviction DNA test, rare for an inmate who was not identified by the Innocence Project. Today, Dallas County investigators collected the saliva sample from Lindsey and allowed our camera to be there for what he believes will be his ticket out.
He's free to go.
Lindsey admits he's watched inmate after inmate in Dallas win exoneration and walk free. That's what he says he dreams about.
Yes, ma'am, I have. Yeah, I have.
For now, it's back to a cell. Lindsey will have to wait. But he says that's something he's done for 25 years. Tongish, KDAF 33 News. The last time Johnnie Lindsey tasted freedom, Ronald Reagan was president. It's been a long wait for Lindsey, who was convicted of raping a woman at White Rock Lake in 1983. All along, he claimed he didn't do it. This week, he proved that. And tomorrow, he'll again be a free man. Finally, Johnnie Lindsey can smile.
Sometimes I have to pinch myself to see if this is real.
From his jail cell, Lindsey says it's still sinking in. After almost 10,000 days locked up in prison, it's finally his last.
I'm a little speechless right now. You know, it's just hard to believe it's finally coming to an end.
It was 25 years ago 30-year-old Lindsey was convicted of raping a woman, a crime he claimed he didn't do. In July, Lindsey got the chance to prove his innocence. Investigators collected a DNA sample, and just as Lindsey claimed, it showed he was not the rapist.
It was a relief. It was a relief.
At a hearing tomorrow, a judge is expected to clear Lindsey and set him free. He says it will be bittersweet knowing what he's missed, especially the son he hasn't seen in 17 years. Your son wants to be there tomorrow for your exoneration.
Thank you. Thank you.
Lindsey says all those years locked away, at times he wanted to give up after writing 6 letters to the court, all of which were ignored.
Nobody ever appointed counsel. Nobody said, we don't care about you, we're not giving you counsel, nothing, no response.
Do you know how to use a cell phone? Lindsey, who's only held a cell phone once and had never seen a Bluetooth. You just talk on your cell phone without even holding the cell phone?
Oh, really?
Admits it's scary thinking about life on the outside.
Sometimes I sit around and wonder a lot of times, what am I really going to do, because I'm so lost and I'm so far behind.
He's free to go.
Still, Lindsey says after watching inmate after inmate set free by DNA, dreaming about when his time might come, he's glad that day is almost here. Lindsey says he believes the rape victim was coerced into picking him out of a photo lineup that was mailed to her a year after the assault. He says he's going to leave that behind and now focus on the future. First up, a steak dinner and hugs for the family. Dawn Tongish, the 33 News.
A man who was wrongly convicted for raping a woman walked out of a Dallas County courtroom today a free man thanks to DNA testing. It's a story the 33 News was first to tell you about, and tonight our Dawn Tongish has the emotional conclusion.
We didn't even know if he was even alive, so this is exciting for everybody.
Katina Rabb and her brother Gilbert couldn't wait to get inside a Dallas courtroom. They wanted to see the stepfather from their old photos, who 26 years ago was wrongly convicted of rape.
All I can say to you, sir, is that we are very, very sorry for what happened to you.
Today, Judge Larry Mitchell offered an apology to 56-year-old Johnnie Lindsey for all his years behind bars, and then set him free. Lindsey says he dreamed of this moment when he could hug his stepkids and see the grown son he last saw as a 2-year-old boy.
It's okay. It's okay.
I think this is maybe one of my most enjoyable days of ever being a lawyer or being a judge.
For Lindsey, the justice has been a long time coming. 6 letters sent to the court pleading his innocence were ignored. Finally, in July, investigators collected a DNA sample that proved Lindsey was not the rapist, even though the victim had picked him out of a photo lineup.
She may have honestly believed that I may have been the person, but I think she knew that I wasn't.
It's a primary case on eyewitness ID and how bad eyewitness identification is.
Today's hearing is just the first step for Lindsey. He says he wants to clear his name, wipe the record clean. To do that, it will take a pardon from the governor, and that could take up to a year.
Oh, there you go, right there, son.
For now, Lindsey is soaking in life on the outside. His first steak meal in a very long time, surrounded by his family, some of whom say they never gave up hope.
It's a glorious moment. Glad to see it come.
Lindsey admits there is some anger, but today it can't overshadow the joy, now that he can finally say he's a free man. Dawn Tongish, the 33 News.
Lindsey says as of today, he's officially the 19th on the 19th. That is the number of inmates freed by DNA in Dallas County.
Amanda Walt, it is getting hot again in Austin. The debate is heating up. Tomorrow, House lawmakers will hold a public hearing on reforming one of the most valuable tools in police work, the photo lineup, because DNA has certainly proven that witnesses can get it wrong.
What do you think about that one?
Exoneree Johnnie Lindsey is happy now with his sweetheart from 40 years ago, a far cry from where he was just a few months ago. Locked away for a rape he didn't do.
And they had nothing. All they had was just the woman's account, and that was it.
Lindsey spent 26 years in jail after a rape victim picked him out of a photo lineup. Because the real rapist was shirtless, he was told to take off his.
I've never heard of it, that they would request you or ask you or order you to take your shirt off to take a mug shot.
He's free to go.
Faulty eyewitness identification like that in the Lindsey case is behind a series of wrongful convictions in Dallas County, prompting calls by lawmakers for police to update techniques.
It's really to your benefit to have these rules and guidelines in place to protect the innocent people that are in these lineups.
In Richardson, police have seen one wrongful conviction. Thomas McGowan was sent to prison for rape. Now photo lineups are videotaped.
You see the instructions that are being given, how the photographs are being laid out in front of the witness, and so that there's no influence. You know, somebody's not, kind of double tapping the table.
Perlich says Richardson's ID policy is in writing, something officials say most departments don't do, something lawmakers are calling for.
It's like it happened to me, it can happen to anybody.
Lindsey, who is now working to get his life back, has lobbied lawmakers to greenlight the changes. So, he says, no one endures what he did. Decades locked away because someone picked the wrong guy. But not everyone is a fan of this reform. The Texas Police Chiefs Association says lawmakers should provide funding for training rather than outlawing practices known to work. But a watchdog group says police have been slow to change and need to be pushed along. We'll keep you up to date on the debate. Dawn Tongish, the 33 News.